Prince looked Madonna straight in the eyes and said 6 words that would change pop music forever. "You can't dance, you just sing." What happened in the next 48 hours shocked the entire music industry. It was January 28, 1985, backstage at the American Music Awards in Los Angeles. The Shrine Auditorium was packed with the biggest names in music, but all eyes were on 2 rising superstars who were about to have a collision that would reshape pop culture. Madonna had just finished her performance of Like a Virgin, which had the audience on their feet. At 26 years old, she was the hottest new artist in America, with her debut album going triple platinum and controversy following her everywhere she went. She was wearing that iconic wedding dress, her platinum blonde hair wild and messy, and she felt invincible. As she walked off stage, still catching her breath, her manager Freddie DeMann pulled her aside with an urgent whisper. "Prince wants to meet you. He's in the green room." Madonna's heart skipped a beat. Prince was everything she aspired to be, a complete artist who wrote, produced, performed and controlled every aspect of his image. His album Purple Rain was dominating the charts, and he'd just won 3 American Music Awards that night. She fixed her hair, adjusted her crucifixes, and walked into the green room with the confidence of someone who believed she belonged in any room she entered. But nothing could prepare her for what happened next. Prince was sitting on a velvet couch, surrounded by members of the Revolution, his band. He was wearing a purple suit with ruffled sleeves, his hair perfectly styled, and when he looked up at Madonna, his expression was unreadable. "Madonna," he said, his voice soft but carrying an edge, "congratulations on your performance." "Thank you," she replied, sensing something in his tone that felt less than genuine. "Your performance was incredible, too." Prince stood up, walked closer to her, and that's when everything changed. He tilted his head slightly, studying her like she was a curiosity rather than an equal, and said, "You know you've got a good voice, you can sing, but you can't dance, you just kind of move around." The room went silent. Members of the Revolution looked at each other nervously. Madonna's manager froze. Everyone understood that in the world of pop music in 1985, this wasn't just an observation, it was a declaration of war. Madonna felt heat rising to her face. She'd spent years taking dance classes in New York, studying with professional choreographers, perfecting every move. And here was Prince, arguably the greatest performer of their generation, dismissing her entire physical artistry with casual cruelty. But Madonna didn't explode. She didn't defend herself. She didn't even argue. Instead, she smiled, that calculated, dangerous smile that people would come to recognize as her most lethal weapon. "Is that what you think?" she asked, her voice steady. "That's what I know," Prince replied, turning back to his band as if the conversation was over. Madonna stood there for exactly 3 seconds, processing the humiliation, feeling the eyes of everyone in the room on her. Then she said something that would become legendary among people who were there that night. "Give me 48 hours. Prince turned back, intrigued. "For what?" "You'll see," Madonna said. Then she walked out of that green room with her head high, but inside, she was burning. The ride back to her apartment in Manhattan was a blur. Her manager tried to comfort her, saying Prince was known for being provocative, that it didn't mean anything. But Madonna wasn't listening. She was already 3 steps ahead, formulating a plan that would prove Prince wrong and in the process, create something that would outlast both of their careers. At 2 a.m. that night, Madonna made a phone call that would change everything. She called her friend and choreographer, Christopher Flynn, who had been her dance instructor back in Michigan before she moved to New York. Flynn had always believed in her, had always told her she had something special. "Christopher," she said when he answered, his voice groggy with sleep, "I need you to teach me everything you know about voguing." "Voguing?" Flynn was suddenly awake. "Madonna, that's underground ballroom culture. That's Harlem. That's not mainstream pop." "It will be," Madonna said with absolute certainty. "Trust me. I need you to connect me with the best voguers in New York. I need to learn their moves, understand their culture, and I need to do it in the next 48 hours. Flynn was silent for a moment, then asked, "What happened?" Madonna told him about Prince's comment. When she finished, Flynn laughed, not at her, but at Prince's mistake. "He has no idea what he just started, does he?" "No," Madonna agreed. "He doesn't." The next day, January 29th, Madonna did something that was unprecedented for a pop star of her level. She went to the Sound Factory, an underground club in Harlem where the voguing scene was thriving. This wasn't a publicity stunt. She didn't bring cameras or reporters. She came alone, wearing simple clothes, with a baseball cap pulled low. The club was filled with predominantly black and Latino gay men who had created voguing as a form of expression, competition, and art. They would throw shade at each other through elaborate hand movements, angular poses, and fierce walks that mimicked high-fashion runway models, hence the name voguing from Vogue magazine. When Madonna walked in, people recognized her immediately. The music stopped. Everyone stared at this white pop star who had just invaded their sacred space. A legendary voguer named Willie Ninja approached her. He was the undisputed king of voguing, known for movements so precise and beautiful that they looked like liquid poetry. "Why are you here?" Willie asked, not hostile but genuinely curious. Madonna looked him straight in the eye and said something that earned his respect. "Because someone told me I can't dance, and I came here to learn from the best dancers in the world." The honesty in her voice, the lack of pretense, the genuine respect in how she said it. That's what changed everything. Willie studied her for a long moment, then smiled. "All right, pop star, let's see what you got." What happened over the next 18 hours was intense. Willie Ninja and other members of the House of Ninja, a legendary voguing collective, taught Madonna the fundamentals of voguing. Not just the moves, but the attitude, the history, the cultural significance. They taught her about the duck walk, catwalk, hands performance, and floor performance. They explained how voguing was born from marginalized communities, creating beauty and power in a world that tried to make them invisible. They showed her that dance wasn't just about technical skill, it was about attitude, confidence, and storytelling. Madonna absorbed everything like a sponge. She practiced until her muscles ached. She fell. She got back up. She asked questions. She listened. And most importantly, she showed respect for a culture that wasn't hers, but that she wanted to honor and bring to a wider audience. By 4 a.m. on January 30th, exactly 48 hours after Prince's comment, Madonna had learned enough to create something revolutionary. But she wasn't ready to show Prince yet. She had one more move to make. She called her record label, Sire Records, and told them she wanted to change her next single. Originally, she was planning to release Angel as her next song, but now she had a different idea. She wanted to write a song called Vogue. "Madonna, you can't write a song in a few hours," her producer said. "Watch me," she replied. With producers Shep Pettibone and Patrick Leonard, Madonna spent the rest of that day writing what would become one of the most iconic songs of all time. The lyrics celebrated fashion, beauty, and self-expression. The music was a perfect blend of house beats and pop sensibility. And the dance would introduce voguing to mainstream America. But before any of that could happen, Madonna had one person she needed to show: Prince. On January 31st, 3 days after their confrontation, Madonna's team arranged for her to visit Prince at his Paisley Park studio in Minneapolis. Prince had no idea why she was coming, but his curiosity was piqued. When Madonna had said, "Give me 48 hours, he hadn't really expected anything to come of it. Madonna arrived at Paisley Park with just Christopher Flynn and Willie Ninja. Prince met them in his main studio, surrounded again by members of the Revolution. The atmosphere was tense, competitive. So Prince said, leaning against his piano with that same unreadable expression, "Your 48 hours are up. What did you want to show me?" Madonna didn't say anything. She just nodded to Christopher, who started playing a rough demo of Vogue on a portable cassette player. The moment the music started, Madonna began to dance. And what Prince saw in those next 4 minutes changed his entire perception of Madonna forever. She vogued with precision, attitude, and fierceness that even Willie Ninja was impressed by. She executed duck walks, spins, and hand movements that looked like she'd been doing them for years, not days. But more than the technical skill, it was her presence, the way she commanded the space, told a story with every gesture, and made you unable to look away. When the music stopped, Madonna struck a final pose and held it, breathing hard, sweat glistening on her forehead, staring directly at Prince with a look that said, "Now what do you have to say?" The studio was silent, for what felt like forever. Prince studied her, his expression giving nothing away. Members of the Revolution were clearly impressed, but waiting for their leader's reaction. Finally, Prince started slow clapping. Then he stopped, walked up to Madonna, and said something that very few people ever heard him say: "I was wrong." Madonna didn't gloat. She didn't smile triumphantly. Instead, she said, "No, you were right. I couldn't dance like that before. But you made me angry enough to learn." Prince actually laughed, A genuine surprised laugh. "Where did you learn that?" "Harlem," Madonna said. "From the people who created it. And I'm going to make sure the whole world knows where it came from." "You're really going to release this?" Prince asked, intrigued. "As soon as I can," Madonna confirmed. "The song, the dance, everything." Prince nodded slowly, respect growing in his eyes. "Then you're not just a performer," he said. "You're an artist." Coming from Prince, those words meant everything. But the story doesn't end there. In fact, that was just the beginning. Madonna kept her promise. 5 years later, in March 1990, Vogue was released and it exploded. The song hit #1 in 30 countries. The music video, directed by David Fincher, became one of the most iconic videos in MTV history. And voguing, this underground art form created by marginalized communities, was suddenly mainstream. Madonna made sure to credit the ballroom culture. She brought Willie Ninja and other voguers on her Blonde Ambition World Tour. She used her platform to shine a light on a community that had been creating art in the shadows for decades. Some critics accused her of cultural appropriation, and those criticisms had validity. But many in the voguing community, including Willie Ninja, defended her because she didn't pretend to invent it. She acknowledged where it came from and gave opportunities to the originators. The impact of that 48-hour period extended far beyond one song. Vogue influenced fashion, photography, music videos, and dance culture for decades. Madonna established herself as more than just a pop singer. She was a cultural force who could take underground movements and make them mainstream while respecting their origins. As for Prince and Madonna's relationship, something unexpected happened. They became friends, not close friends, but they had mutual respect. Prince sent Madonna a purple rose after Vogue became #1, with a card that said simply, "Respect." Years later, in a 1991 interview, Prince was asked about that backstage moment at the American Music Awards. For once, he was honest about it. "I said something stupid and arrogant," Prince admitted. "Madonna proved me wrong in the most spectacular way possible. She didn't just learn to dance in 48 hours. She created a movement. That's the difference between someone who performs and someone who's truly an artist." When Madonna heard about that interview, she reportedly smiled and said, "It took him 6 years, but he finally got it right." The lesson in this story isn't just about Madonna's talent or work ethic. It's about what happens when someone tries to limit you, define you, or put you in a box. You have two choices: accept their definition or prove them devastatingly wrong. Madonna chose the second option, but she did something even smarter. She didn't just prove Prince wrong, she used his criticism as fuel to learn from a community she respected, create something beautiful, and elevate both herself and the culture she borrowed from. Willie Ninja, who passed away in 2006, said in one of his last interviews, "Madonna didn't just learn voguing that weekend. She understood something deeper. That dance is about telling your truth with your body." Prince told her she couldn't dance. She responded by learning a whole new language of movement and teaching it to the world. Today, when you see dancers voguing in music videos, fashion shows, and dance competitions worldwide, you're seeing the legacy of what started as an insult backstage at the American Music Awards. You're seeing what happens when talent meets determination, meets respect for artistic traditions. And if you ever doubt whether 48 hours can change your life, remember this. In January 1985, Madonna was a pop star who couldn't dance. By March 1990, she had created one of the most influential dance movements in pop culture history. All because Prince told her she couldn't do something, and Madonna responded with the only 2 words that matter: "Watch me." If this story of artistic rivalry turning into cultural revolution inspired you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment telling us about a time someone doubted you and you proved them wrong. And don't forget to ring that notification bell. We've got 9 more incredible Madonna stories coming up that you won't want to miss.